What's up, y'all? This is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. I'm coming from the dentist and stuff. I had to get a mouth guard. Brother be grinding his teeth at night. Anyway, right? Beauty is not objective. And specifically, a woman's beauty is not objective. And stuff. That's what I'm gonna call it. A woman's beauty is not objective. And I was thinking about this. What even brought it up? Well, about three things. There were a couple people on my private site. One saying it wasn't objective, and then another one using that term. And I explained to them. It's like, no, it's not objective. No such thing as objective beauty. And and then I thought about on my IG, I be saving pictures of specific women, and I was looking at them, and I was like, they're both beautiful, like definitely got the butt dunks, but even the butt dunks don't match up, and even the faces, because one was African, one was part black, part Persian. Another one was a young friend of mine who's white. And I was like, okay, well, I see them all as beautiful, but they don't match up. See, here's the thing with objective. There is not room for interpretation. If I held up a rock to y'all and say, what is this? Everybody, 100 people would say a rock. Now, if I said if the rock was pretty or beautiful or nice looking, then we get a variety of shit. But that's objective and stuff. If I showed y'all a picture of one of these trees out here and stuff, objectively, that's a tree. But then whether or not it looks nice or anything or is interesting, that's up to interpretation. It's up to interpretation. See, that's the thing. When you're talking about beauty, see, beauty really isn't an eye of the beholder because it's up to the person. See, beauty isn't some static thing. It's not a mathematical equation. Because you get some people say, well, this is measures as beauty. No, that's a cultural thing. And, you try to say that. But someone could have those measurements, but are they still considered attractive? Just like you get some guys, even when I talk body gain, they say, well, you got to have 10% body fat. All right, but with the woman, there are many women, they'd be like, oh, he needs to eat a cheeseburger. That's not necessarily automatically attractive. All it is just 10%. It ain't ugly, it ain't handsome, even though some people try to say that. It just is. Whatever the case, the mathematics is just mathematics. 1 + 1 is always 2, no matter what. That's objective. You can't change that. Nobody can argue with that. But beauty, think about it, people argue with it. Like, okay, I mentioned a young white girl. When she in her mid-20s and stuff, I call her my protege. Like, we were real cool like that. Not anything romantic and stuff. I remember I showed her picture to someone. I said, yeah, check out this dime. And dude looked at her and said, well, she just a 7 to him. And that was fair. That's not objective. See, you can't argue objective stuff. You can't argue that water will boil at a certain temperature. See, that's what science is. The very nature of science is showing this is what will happen objectively. That's the very nature of it. There's no room for interpretation. And beauty, it really depends on how it makes the feel the person. If you look at a woman, it depends on how you feel. Because ironically, okay, I'm just coming from the dentist. Now, I'm sitting there for a few seconds, and there was a woman in there. Now, she was definitely overweight, but she had on a skirt. She had on a little skirt. She was showing her thighs, her legs. I ain't gonna lie. And she felt the energy from me because her legs were tapping up and down. I ain't gonna lie. If I had a chance to really talk with her, or if I see her around somewhere, oh, I would have made love to her shadow. I would have ran up in there. My joint was like, hey, hello there. But somebody else, of course, would be like, nah. But you know what? That's fair. For somebody, that's why men have different preferences. Because First of all, okay, let me take the beauty thing. Like I said, I got these women whose pictures I save and everything. None of them look alike, but they're all beautiful. But if beauty was an objective thing, every single person who would be considered beautiful would look the exact same way. Think about that. Now, I know some people try to promote that, but then let's just be real. We can't go around the elephant in the room. That's just cultural chauvinism. That's just cultural chauvinism, because usually the people saying it's objective are usually, they'll call themselves white scientists and stuff, but, okay, they see their own woman as attractive. Okay, now what? I remember I told an Italian woman, nah, sisters are just very attractive to me. She didn't get offended. She understood. Indeed, even when a lot of brothers that go for a non-black woman, they tend to go for one with a big old fat ass or a body like a sister. Shoot, even some white men who will go for black women, they tend to go for the slimmer ones if they have an honest choice. But that's because that's what they find is beautiful and stuff, And it's an important thing to understand, because you get a lot of arguments over it. And indeed, even with, let's go on the male side, you get a lot of guys saying, well, I don't look like this, I ain't going to get a woman. It depends on what woman you're dealing with. Now, at best, even for men or women, there's consensus attractiveness. But even then, that's within the culture. And you're still going to get different things. Indeed, when somebody says objective, or even they put in universal thing, they haven't been every place. They can honestly say they've been every place and know how men and women view each other universally. Because a lot of stuff is projection. Even the Miss Universes and stuff, it's still based on a European cultural standard and stuff. But if you look at, I remember I saw something, it was on the Africa channel, right? Yeah, I'm going to bring Africa into it, because there's some big differences. There's a big difference in what Scandinavian might find attractive in somebody from Nigeria. A very big difference. Extremely big difference. It's just the reality of it. But I remember I saw this thing about a Nigerian beauty contestant. These were some thick women, And even then, like I mentioned, the thing about, somebody Scandinavian, somebody Nigerian finding something different attractive. Me, I don't just talk off the top of my head and everything. I'm going to put in 2 videos and stuff. 5 things Africans find beautiful in an African woman, and then top 10 African countries with the most beautiful and gorgeous women. And you'll see country, there might be some general stuff, but country to country is different ways of looking, I remember one time, and yeah, we got to bring the race thing into it, because if it's universal, that means every single race sees the same thing as beautiful. I remember, and I'm going to shout out Mr. 1950, he shared some on his IG, and I mentioned this before. He showed a clip of some people saying this white woman has the perfect human butt. And a bunch of brothers bunch of brothers come in, it's like, she don't got no ass. In fact, some brothers might see that woman, she might have just a cute face, ordinary face, but a big fat round ass. It's like, yeah, she a dime. Hey, that's just the reality of it and stuff. Because everyone is going to look different, because you got to feel the beauty. You got to feel it and stuff. In fact, let me shout out one of my longtime supporters. He was supporting me before I even got on YouTube. He's got one of the early editions, GT Playboy. And he said, he's Ghanaian, and he said a Guyanese saying, every bread has its cheese. Everybody have their choice. I mean, it's up to them, because you have to feel the beauty. Think about what beauty is. It plays a part in sex appeal. What's the ultimate reason we have sex? Not really pleasure. The ultimate reason, reproduction. So we literally feel something. You have to feel the beauty. You have to feel it. Even men will feel it. You know, like I said, I just saw a woman just, in the dentist's office. If I had a little bit more time, only had maybe a minute before I was called in, because I got there just right before my appointment. In fact, she was called in at the same time, just in a different section. Oh, I would have hollered. But that was what I felt. I felt it, Like if you look at a beautiful woman, you're going to feel it. We're not to the same extent a woman feels, like when she look at a certain type of man. But that's subjective. That's up to you. Got to feel the beauty. You can put that same person. Like I've known some women call guys just absolutely gorgeous. Just call them absolutely gorgeous, but they wouldn't fit what the media says as most attractive. In fact, let's get into that media thing. If you look at it, the media changes every few years what's considered attractive anyway, with men and women. It depends on whatever the superstar is. Every few years, it hasn't changed. In fact, this man, I've seen a couple videos like talking about men, where they would talk about the, what's considered the ideal male body. I'm gonna see if I can find one of those videos and stuff. It would just change, just like after the past few years. It can go from like very muscular, slim, whatever, burly, just over the years and stuff. If it was objective, you don't change. 1 + 1 = 2 has been the case throughout history. You can't change it. I don't care what you do, you can't change it. A is A. Shout out Ayn Rand supporters. Atlas Shrugged, who is John Galt. You can't get past it. There's nothing you can do. You can't argue with it. There's no things. Even as somebody who's consensusly attractive, there's been plenty of who's considered consensus, at best a consensus. They go across multiple cultures, multiple races, at best. But even then, there's somebody be like, because you can, if there's one person, just one that can argue against it, and they sincere, you can hook them up to a lie detector. They ain't bullshitting. That invalidates it. But you cannot invalidate 1 + 1 = 2. And it's very important to understand. In fact, on my series I have on Rom TV, Reading Women's Section, I present a whole different system. Like even now, when I say 9s, 10s, only do that to help communicate to people. But there's a range. And even within that, it is still up to the beholder. Like some guys get too caught up in it, even with the women. Or, one of the things I've seen when some guys will look at another man's woman, it's like she ain't all that. Well, to you, she don't need to be. Your dick ain't going in her. That's probably the most beautiful type of person to it. That goes into what I talk about with the tribe. Everyone has their own thing. That's a very important thing to understand. Everybody have their own type, it goes down, and it really goes down to the DNA. It goes down to the culture, the tribal group, racial group, ethnic group. It goes down a lot. Family, family. Because I was thinking about like big old legs. Like that shit, I might like that more than a butt dump. But then I was thinking about the women in my family. That's more of a DNA thing, But it's not objective. It's like some people try to project it, and that's really a crime. You get different cultures trying to colonize it. In fact, I know a photographer. He does pics. He does like naked pictures of women who don't fit like that media mainstream Eurocentric standard. He calls it decolonizing beauty, and he has a good point. And it's still, it's still what you like. Like I seen some of his pictures. Some of the women were like, yeah, hot to me. The others were like, But you know what? That's fair. Somebody else might switch it around. You know, even how women look at men. Because I was thinking about it. It was a thread on Lipstick Alley. I haven't been able to find it since. It might have, I don't know what they did with it. But they brought my name up. And there were some women on there. They were like, ooh. And some other women like, nah, he attractive. That's cool. And both of them were right. You know, that's why I say focus on your tribe. Focus on the women that find you attractive. But it's not objective. Because the objective, it'd be the same thing. Let's go back to what I said when I was looking at the women whose pictures I generally save. All of them got their own section in my save section. They don't look shit alike. Only commonality is the butts pop out because you know it's me. But all of them got a different look. Shoot, one got a shaved head. You know, different races, everything. But to me, they're all beautiful, but they don't look alike. See, an objective thing would look alike. Only thing you could say they have in common, objective, they're women. That's the only thing you could say. Shit. You know? That's the only objective thing you could say. And these days, natural women. You know? Natural women, because, well, that's a whole other conversation about these trans. Oops. Don't flag my video. I'm just saying it's a whole other conversation. But that's the thing, though. That's the thing. And, it's just common sense, really. So, and we'll say, well, why would you bring this up? Because I'm seeing, well, like I said, past couple of days, seeing that word objective too much. Ain't nothing objective out here. Consensus at best. Consensus, even then. Even then, it depends. Because if we were to really ask a lot of women about some of these stars out here, or a lot of men about some of these women, they would probably be like, oh, not really. Shit, I'm gonna be real with you. A lot of these so-called superstars don't look like shit to me. A lot of these women held up as beautiful don't look like shit to me. It just is. Like objective, you can't argue. Like I said, I'm gonna say it, keep saying it. 1 + 1 = 2. You cannot argue with that. You can't argue with math. The math stays the same no matter what. No matter what. So, why do I say that? Well, 2 reasons. One, if you find a woman beautiful, yeah, that's up to you. You don't need to do it, because some guys, they want a woman that impresses their friends. And that's good if you can get it. Hey, that's a nice thing. But shit, you the one got to be happy. And then if you're not looking like, that Chad or Tyrone to a woman, but, okay, maybe she might not want that. Everything you present, she might want. Shit, even, that's something else I could talk about, because I mentioned the 10% body fat thing. I remember when I was 10% body fat, there was a couple women, they weren't feeling it. But then when they saw me years later, I put on a little bit of weight. Oh, well, they would get nasty with it. In fact, recent years, I had a woman just said, my weight was 240. And she said, Rom, I got to put 40 pounds on you. She like a big man. So it's different. It's different. It's not, you could try. People could try to say, well, it's objective. No. It's the number you try to project as objective. But is it really objective? If there's an argument, if somebody ain't feeling it, they just ain't feeling it. And that's a terrible thing, because, okay, let me go just a little deeper. A reality is you got different body types. That's it. And it's a genetic thing. I saw that. I mean, anybody who's had more than 2 children, or 2 children at least, because when my oldest son came out, he was taller than average. He was taller than average. He was a long kid, and he's slim to this day. It would take a lot for him to put on some serious weight. I was just looking at him. He would honestly, he would probably have to hit some steroids to get thick or something. Because he's already kind of, if he just lift a little bit, he cut. He's more ectomorphic and shit. Oh, speaking of which, I remember somebody trying to say, oh, they ain't real. That's some dumbass. I was like, you take a look out here and see people built differently. And then my oldest son, he came out tall and slim. That's just natural for him. He has certain women who like him and stare at him. Other son, he came out like he was like bench pressing in the room. He came out solid. He came out, yeah. I was like, damn, man, what you bench, bro? He came out fist first too. Yeah, he came out fist first. But that's just natural. He's kept a girlfriend since 5th grade. Seriously, he's kept, really, before that, really. Remember, I was living in this one place, man. Little girls come to the window and say, hey, can you come out? Didn't he know the little girl? Shit. Shit. But that's just different. Now they look different, but they get different women. And it is. That's why ultimately, for the men, if you like a certain type of woman, you just like a certain type of woman. Don't apologize for it. All right? Don't apologize. It's your dick going in the woman. Let me just be raw with it. As long as your ass is happy, as long as that woman is in cooperation to your operation, that's all you need. And as far as how you look, just be your best. I get some guys talking about, well, I ain't 6 feet, or I got a rounder face. I've known some players like that. They under 6 feet. They got a round face. Shit, some of the most I've known some players, they got a little bit extra weight. Their body fat their body fat number starts with a 2 at a minimum. And they got women lined the fuck up. And women will say, oh yeah, I've seen women say, some guys like that. But then did all the women say that? Hell no, they don't need to. Shit, there's 4 billion women in the world. Shit, if you got 100 on your tip, that's more than most people. That's all you need. Shit. So, and that's it though. But it's subjective. It's subjective. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's not. Let's put it like another way. If it was, the whole human population would look different. Because it would have simply evolved that way. All right? It would have evolved that way. It would be one skin pigmentation in all humans too. All right? Just seriously, if you got a variety, you got a variety on so many levels. And that's down on a genetic level. So, that's what it is. So, that's all I got for today, though. Gotta clean myself out a little bit, so I'm just gonna get some fruit juices in here. I might, I don't even feel like, I got so much to do, I don't feel like juicing. I'll juice tomorrow, though. I'll just get some basic juices today. So anyway, that's all I got. Get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.